When your drivers leave the yard each morning, they spend the next few hours in a world that can be very hostile. Many of you began your careers with Laidlaw as drivers, so you know what I'm talking about. Put yourself in this driver's seat for just a minute. As a driver, you would need to know exactly what our student management policy is. For that reason, your division needs a formalized, written policy that addresses all the relevant issues: conduct reports, bus rules, and advice to school officials. Drivers must know the system, or they won't know how to use the methods. All of our drivers should be trained with our drivers' student management programs every year. As a member of Laidlaw's management team, you share responsibility with your drivers for the safe transportation of students. Part of that responsibility is managing student behavior on the buses. If students misbehave on the bus, your drivers can't concentrate on driving safely. This program was developed to show you how to work with your drivers and school officials to find a solution to student management problems. These problems can be only solved effectively when each of these groups is working together.
I've had really good luck with the supervisory department at Laidlaw. They have a focus group which is concerned with the driver's problems. They try to make things easier for us. They also will connect with the district or the school that you're having a problem with and try to get things straightened out as far as runs or discipline. So I'm very pleased.
The first step in working as a team is to know what to expect from other team members and what they expect from you. You expect your drivers to do their jobs professionally. Your drivers expect you to stand behind them and support them. Professional athletes know that they have to work together. No one athlete, no matter how great his ability, can win the game by himself. It's just too big a goal. But if he combines his ability with the abilities of his teammates, together they can win as a team, because together everyone achieves more. The same is true in your situation. Your drivers cannot manage their buses on their own. It's just too big a goal. Likewise, you cannot manage the students by yourself because you're not directly in contact with them. The teachers and school officials can't do it alone either. They don't even ride the bus. But if everyone joins together and supports each other, you can successfully manage the students' Laidlaw transports. You can win as a team. Think of yourself as the coach on the student management team, and think of the school officials as the managers. You are the link between these officials and the drivers. You have an opportunity to review a copy of the student management video program for Laidlaw drivers. Your drivers are on the front lines. Their job is difficult, and they need to know they're not alone. Your biggest responsibility is to support and encourage your driver players. As a player coach, you not only have to call the plays, you have to get in the game and make them happen. Look at these statistics. In 1940, a survey was taken to find the 7 most common problems in American schools. The number 1 problem was students talking. Pretty laughable by today's standards, isn't it? The other 6 problems in order were chewing gum, students making noise, running in the halls, getting out of line, wearing improper clothing, and missing the trash can. The same survey was taken again in 1992. This time the results were a little different. Drug abuse was the number 1 problem. The others were alcohol abuse, pregnancy, suicide, rape, robbery, and assault.
If you challenge the student in front of his friends, you're going to have all sorts of problems.
These things happen in schools every day, and they happen to your bus drivers. Your drivers need your support, Sometimes that will mean riding with them or being available to talk them through difficult confrontations with students. In certain instances, it may even mean reassigning them to a different route. One of the most effective tools for student management is consistency. If bus rules are not enforced consistently, students will feel there is no reason to follow them. You are a vital link in the chain of student management. Everyone has a specific role. It is your responsibility to contact school officials on behalf of drivers and to suggest disciplinary procedures when necessary. Obviously, different school districts have different policies and disciplinary procedures. Another one of your responsibilities is to relay these policies to your drivers and be sure they are followed. These policies must be formalized and your drivers must understand them. It often requires a meeting with school officials to come to an agreement on student management policies. Use this program to explain our concerns and the need for help. If you don't fulfill your responsibility as coach consistently, your drivers will not have the support they need. They'll begin to feel like it doesn't matter how hard they try, and they will eventually stop trying. When that happens, everything falls apart. Stop the tape now and discuss the important role of Laidlaw management and supervisors in supporting bus drivers and communicating with the school officials. Take some time to review the formalized student discipline policies in your district. If a student understands but refuses to follow the rules for acceptable behavior, the driver will follow Laidlaw's 4-step student management policy. Your drivers must have a clear understanding of acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Kids will be kids. They will talk and shout and play around, and that should be ignored until it gets out of hand. It's the difference between something like this. That is not an unacceptable level of noise for students. However, this is. Your drivers must be clear on this distinction. If we cry wolf and report minor problems or report too many problems, the school officials will become frustrated and not help us effectively when we report a major problem. Again, specific procedures will vary from district to district, but each will include giving the student a warning. Take the time to explain this completely to your drivers. Include your district's procedures into the following 4-step process. Step 1. When a driver issues a first warning, he or she will fill out an official report sheet and bring it to you. You will read the report, discuss the incident with the driver, and send a copy of the report to the student's school. Note, if any one driver is giving you several reports, look into it. The driver may not understand the difference between acceptable and unacceptable behavior, or it could be a serious discipline problem that should be discussed with school officials immediately. Check to see that the report sheet is filled out completely with the date, approximate time of the incident, description of the incident, child's name, driver's name, and bus number. Your name, write it in if there's not an appropriate space, and any additional comments, such as how the student responded when the driver spoke to them. The incident must be described in detail. If anything is unclear, it's your job to get the necessary details from the driver. Without details, the report is no good to you or to school officials. After you've read the report and discussed the incident, both you and the driver will sign the report sheet. Then you'll send a copy to the school. Step 2. If a second warning is issued, the child's parents or guardians will be contacted and told about the incidents. You may or may not make this phone call. In many districts, only the teachers and school officials have the authority to directly contact the child's parents. If this is the case, your responsibility is to follow up with the school and ensure that they've called the parents within 24 hours of the incident. In other instances, you will have to contact the student's parents or guardians. If this is the case, speak with school officials before the call is made, and again, after you've contacted the parents. Be sure to relay all of this information to the driver before his or her next shift. Communicating with the driver immediately is essential. They must know they have support and that action is being taken. In some cases, such as severe violence, seriously abusive language, or sexual misconduct, the student's parents may need to be contacted immediately. This is a serious decision. Sit down with your driver and carefully review the incident. If you decide it is a serious problem, contact the school. They will make the final decision. Tell your driver what their decision was and what action, if any, will be taken. Do this as soon as possible. The driver must know before the student does. Step 3. If there's a third warning, you will contact the school officials and recommend all riding privileges be suspended until a face-to-face conference is arranged between the school, the parents, the child, and yourself as a representative from Laidlaw. The conference will decide what further action will be taken. Most school districts require the driver to be at this conference as well, but if the driver does not attend, you must tell him the final decision immediately. Step 4. A fourth warning means Laidlaw recommends to the school officials that the child no longer be allowed to ride. If the district has a different policy for repeat offenders, we will use that instead. Since special education riders have a right to transportation, the four-step system will apply differently to them. Refer to Laidlaw's special education program. Before we review the section, I want to take time to reiterate the absolute necessity of keeping your drivers in the information loop. They must know they have your support. Stop the tape now and discuss the four-step procedure. Talk about how to adapt it, if necessary, to your particular school district.
Two kids in the back was wrestling with the gun, and they exited the bus through the back.
We live in a complex and often dangerous world. We all hope one of your drivers never has to deal with a weapon on the bus, but it could happen. If it does, your support is essential. Responding correctly in a crisis situation is extremely important, which is why this next section has been included. When a weapon is pulled on a bus, the driver must be able to count on your support. Their life and the lives of all the students could very well depend on it. For the very rare occasion when one of our drivers faces a crisis situation, this is what these drivers have been instructed to do. If a driver notices that a student is carrying a knife or a gun, they'll take note of who it is and do nothing else at that moment. If they're on their way to school, they'll drop off the students and radio their supervisor immediately. They'll tell them who it is and what kind of weapon it is. You will report the incident to the school administration. If they're dropping off students at the end of the day, they'll wait until all of the students have left the bus. Then they'll radio you. If a student or anyone else pulls a weapon on a bus, your driver should use the following procedures. Sometimes in a crisis situation, a rush of adrenaline may make drivers feel they can handle the situation their own way. Wrong. If they are lucky, they may disarm the person and save the day, but there is a greater chance that if they try to be a hero, they'll cause a tragedy. So using the following procedure is very important. Do not panic or become hysterical. Speak clearly and directly. Ask the assailant what they want and just buy time. If the assailant is a regular rider, the driver should call them by name and ask what they want. In some situations, the assailant wants attention or to feel important. If so, they may leave the bus after they've been spoken to. It may be a robbery. The driver should encourage students to give the robber what he asks for. Robbers will leave when they get what they want. As soon as the assailant leaves the bus, the driver should go directly to dispatch. Another bus will make sure the children get home. The driver's sole objective is to buy time and allow the situation to calm down. The assailant is frightened and excited. Adrenaline is pumping, and the longer they're allowed to be in charge, the calmer they'll become. Drivers should do nothing aggressive or confrontational. They should simply ask what the assailant wants and obey them. Drivers should be calm and buy time. They should agree with the assailant. As the assailant calms down, the driver should either ask them to leave the bus or ask if all the passengers can leave the bus. As soon as is safely possible, the driver should contact dispatch or the police. As a manager, you should be supportive over the radio. The driver may be very shaken up by the incident and may not give you all the information you need. Next, contact the school administration and give them all the information you got from the driver. In many cases, there will have to be a police report filed. Ask the school officials what specific action will be taken and when. Relay this information to the driver immediately. Meet drivers when they bring the bus in. They will need to talk to you, and you will need to tell them what the school board will do, and if they must fill out a police report. Offer to ride with the driver on the next shift, or the next few shifts. Obviously, this type of experience will affect some drivers more than others. Pay attention to what they say and how they respond. It may be necessary to reassign them to a different route. If a student or anyone else pulls a weapon on the bus, the driver may need more mental and emotional support than you can be expected to provide. What you can do is give them some time off and direct them to a qualified psychological professional. If they can and do go back to work, reassign them to a different route, possibly a different school. Stop the tape now and review your responsibilities in a crisis situation. Remember, your drivers need the support of their quarterback. Not only are you their direct supervisor, you are their link with the school officials. You have an important responsibility. Good communication between drivers, school officials, and Laidlaw management is critical. Your responsibility is to make sure that communication takes place. Thank you for attending this meeting. Your commitment to safety and professionalism is important to Laidlaw.